Hey, what's up, gang? Hope everybody's doing good out there today, and much appreciated you taking a few minutes out of your day to watch the video. I know how busy everybody is, and for you to actually take 5 or 10 minutes to watch my videos out of your day, very grateful for that. Thank you very much. And today we got a really good topic from one of the subscribers. Actually, yesterday sent me this request to do a video on how to read water. And I've been wanting to do this a little bit. I've been putting it off a little bit because it's an extremely difficult topic to talk about as far as trying to describe exactly what I'm trying to convey, but I'll do the best I can to get through it, and hopefully it'll help you catch a few more fish. But real quick, just wanted to remind everybody, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, it'd be much appreciated if you do so. If you like the content I'm putting out here, there's no better way than to support the channel than subscribe to it. Like I said, half of the people that watch the videos here aren't subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button. It'd be much appreciated. Also, if you're interested in becoming a member of the channel, you can go to my homepage, my home YouTube page, click on the About section, then click on Intuitive Memberships, and you can get all the information about becoming a member of the channel. It's another great way to support the channel. Okay, let's talk about, or try to talk about this reading water deal. First thing I want to say about reading water is, let's talk about what it means to read water. Reading water is basically, in my opinion, it's analyzing the conditions that you have when you're fishing to determine how suitable the water is, or what the odds are as far as catching fish in the water that you're fishing. And it can be a wide range. It can be like perfect conditions, or it can be terrible conditions, and in between. So I'm going to try to explain to you guys what we're looking for when we talk about reading the water. Reading the water, as far as, in my opinion, when I'm trying to read the water and find the right water, so much of that is a matter of feel and experience. It's sort of something that it's sort of like a chef or something. When they're trying to explain a taste, they can explain what the taste is and how much seasoning or herbs need to go in a certain dish, but ultimately they have a taste that they rely on. And it's sort of the same when you're reading water. It's a feel that you get, and it's something that is picked up through experience and time on the water, and you just know when something looks good and know when something feels right. So the thing that you want to do when you're reading water is you're trying to assess the potential that area that you're fishing has to produce fish or not to produce fish. That's the ultimate thing. The first thing we have to do in bass fishing is you have to locate the bass before you can catch them. So much of the tips out there that is on YouTube, a lot of the tips what I do here are geared towards actually catching the bass. But the more broader topic and the bigger topic that needs to be addressed but does not get the same amount of views is learning how to locate bass. Because it's not, when you're talking about reading water and locating bass, it's not a quick fix. I can't sit here and tell you, like I can with like a Texas rig worm, a simple tip that will immediately help you get a few more bites. Reading water, locating bass is something that takes a lot of time to do it, but it's something that if you're going to be a bass angler, you have to master that. What you want to look for in your reading water is, I'm usually looking for a combination of different things. It's a combination of the water clarity, as far as the water clarity in relationship to normal, what normal is. Say, for example, if you have typical water clarity of 3 feet in the lake that you're fishing under stable conditions, say the weather's been stable for weeks, hasn't been a lot of rain coming in, hasn't been a lot of wind, just stable conditions, you have 3 feet of visibility, that's sort of the benchmark. And if you have some other variables that come in through there, like cloud cover, rain, different water levels, different wind, all that stuff can contribute to changing the water clarity, even lake turnover, a lot of different stuff. So every time you have one of those variables that kick in that take a body of water away from its normal water clarity, that's when you have to have the ability to read that water as far as its potential to catch fish or not. And it's the same with cover. Cover has a big part to do as far as reading potential of a water. The thing that you're wanting to find in bass fishing is you want to read water that puts you in an area that has a large concentration of bass. And I don't mean like pulling up on a main lake point and there being a big school there. I'm talking about identifying a portion of the lake that just seems alive, better than others. And there's always a portion of the lake that's better than others. And when you learn to read water, that's what you're trying to determine. You're trying to determine the best part of the lake for the technique that you're using to catch fish in. So, for example, say if we'll use here an example right now of, summertime fishing. And if I don't want to fish deep, I'm looking for some type of a shallow water option. So first thing I'm doing is I'm running up to the extremities. I'm running up to the upper river arms, the upper creek arms to try to get in a little bit more off-colored water where I know those fish are going to be shallow. So when I roll into these areas, I have to be able to read the potential that area has. If I go into an area and I see that, everything's pretty stable, you've got water visibility of maybe 12 inches, you've got isolated laydowns, and there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of cover and a lot of the premium best water clarity for fishing shallow in the summertime. The read that I get on that water tells me it's a real high potential for me to do well. But say, for example, I get up the same river on a lake that I'm fishing and there's not that much cover. Say there's like a laydown log or something every quarter of a mile, and the rest of the banks, there's not much on them. It's sand or bare, just bare banks, gravel type banks. Then I look at that particular area and I read that potential of that water. That tells me that, I might be able to pick up a fish here and there, but there's not going to be a big group of fish in those particular areas. And it's the same if I go down the lake. Say if I go down the lake in the clear water part of in the clear water part of the lake, and I'm looking for those fish in clear water. Now, I've got to be able to, again, read the potential. Say I may graph 15 or 20 main lake points, and say on, 25% of them, I start seeing groups of fish gathered down there. I see bait fish. I see a little bit of cover. Water clarity is optimum. All that's leading to tell me that there is a good potential to do well in that particular water simply because I've got the right water clarity. I'm seeing activity on my electronics. Maybe I roll up on those same points and I fished 20 points and 5 of them early in the morning. I get a blow up on a Zara spook or something like that. That tells me there's a lot of fish and a lot of activity in those particular areas. And then I can duplicate that pattern around. So the thing that you have to think about when you're analyzing about how to read a lake and how to read the water is you have to have a little bit of a background in catching fish under those conditions, because if you don't have much of a background in catching fish under a wide range of conditions, then you're sort of unable to read the water clarity. I don't know how many times, guys, one of the big advantages of fishing for decades like I have is, say, for example, I roll back into a creek arm of the lake and I look at the water visibility or, whatever structure's in there, and I can just sort of tell immediately by looking at the water clarity and looking at the available cover in relationship to that water clarity. I can read the potential of that water almost immediately as far as how productive that's going to be. And that's one of the things that you're going to find out as you get to be more skilled as an angler, is you can quickly eliminate water simply by learning how to read that water, the potential of it. And I don't really know any shortcuts to that. You can probably learn a lot from YouTube, but it's sort of like the same deal when people ask me like what my favorite color jerkbait is. I try to explain to them that I want a jerkbait color to stand out a little bit, yet be a little bit subtle. The only way that I can really teach somebody or school somebody on that is if I have them in the boat with me and show them exactly what I mean when that jerkbait goes in the water, about that fine line between blending in and sticking out a little bit. And it's sort of the same when I'm talking about reading the potential of the water to produce a lot of fish. I can take somebody into an area and I can explain to them, it's like, this is a high percentage area simply because these variables are lining up. Or in the same situation, I can go back and say, this is a low percentage area because the way these variables are lining up. And like I said, a lot of it has to do with the combination of water clarity, water temperature, available cover, water level. There's a lot of factors that determine what that is. We could sit here and talk all night about it, different scenarios, because I could literally give you 100 different scenarios of what optimum water conditions look like, how you read that, and I can give you 100 different options of what poor water conditions and poor potential is. It's just another example why bass fishing is one of the most complicated sport that there is, simply because of all those variables out there, controlled and non-controlled variables. But ultimately, like I said, when you're talking about reading water, it's all about reading the potential that water has to catch fish or not catch fish, eliminate that water quickly, or establish it as a pattern quickly. And it's like me, one of the things that comes with experience like I have is I can usually go to most any lake in the country and I can tell you this area of the lake is going to produce the winning fish, and this area of the lake is going to produce most of the top 10s. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to win it or make a top 10 in it, simply because you've got to hit on the combination of bait, retrieves, timing, all that type of stuff. But nevertheless, you have to identify where those high potential areas are, and that comes from a lot of years on the water. And that's one of the advantages that veterans like myself have. But the veterans like myself can usually find the bass quicker and find the better areas over the younger guys. But a lot of times the younger guys are better at catching those fish once they do find it, simply because they're more versatile with their techniques and more open-minded. So anyway, hope that answers your questions as far as reading water. If you got any, shoot me some comments or questions on that. I don't know how clear I was, describing that. It's sort of difficult to talk about, but it's a good topic to talk about later on. We'll do some more stuff on that at another point. And again, thanks for tuning in, guys. Much appreciated, and we'll be back soon. See ya.